Welcome, dead and lovely listeners, to a brand new Minisode installment of the greatest horror movie podcast in all the known multiverse. Why, it's Drag and Larblar, here with the host with the most. Why, it's me, Uncle Ben.
And me, Hollywood Steve.
Oh, Hollywood Steve. As you guys may notice, the audio quality is slightly diminished from its usual capacity because we are recording on an Apple iPhone. This is a first for the show, but we just finished watching Pet Sematary, and we went over to my wife's office to a quiet place to record this episode hot off the presses. That way we can give you guys our super dope hot thoughts on this flick.
You said a quiet place. Emily Blunt's in here giving birth to a baby silently.
She's being real quiet like.
She's not said a word.
Real sneaky. So, yeah, if the audio quality isn't quite up to your usual standards, I'd like to offer you guys a 100% refund on what it cost you to listen to this podcast. So there.
All right. So now that we're done with the audio quality portion of our podcast.
Now that you're informed about the quality of your audio here.
We're talking about Pet Sematary, the new one.
The brand new one. We just reviewed the old one on the show the other day. And, you know, we just finished the movie about 10 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. And, Steve, I want to ask you, what's your first impressions of how you feel about this thing? We're going to go
spoiler-free first.
Yeah, no spoilers up front, and then we'll spoil a shit out of it, so. Yeah.
I would say that it is a moderate improvement on the 1989 version.
Okay.
Which is a disappointment because they've had 30 years to think about it.
They had plenty of time to practice.
Yeah.
They had plenty of time to practice.
Plenty of time to at least majorly improve some elements of the storyline. They did some of the things that I said should have been done with the original.
Right.
Like cutting out certain elements. So Missy Dandridge, for instance.
Yeah. I kept waiting on Missy Dandridge to pop up. I got nothing.
And they did make Pascal a little more understandable.
They made him less important, which was a big deal for me.
Yes.
He was still He's still pretty useless.
Yeah, still pretty useless. Still pretty heavily involved, though. But still, we'd see him less.
Yeah, he has less of that, like, guardian angel-y, like, why are you doing this stuff to these people quality to him.
But overall, I would just say, I don't know, man. It's not a big enough improvement on the original. Yeah. Which is disappointing because the original, as I said just a few days ago, not very good.
Right. Yeah. It's not a perfect movie by any means. What would you say to somebody who was like a big fan of the original? Do you think they're gonna like this one?
No, they would see no reason for it.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think it would improve anything about their viewing experience.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not really so much of like a new script based on the book.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. Like some
that would have been nice.
Yeah. This is basically a remake of the movie.
Yeah. Almost like they didn't even take any time to read the book. They just watched the movie several times and they were like, okay, how can we fix this?
Right.
And they made some adjustments that I think were good adjustments. And I think, if you did like the original but not too much, maybe you'll still enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
If you like the original a lot, you're just going to hate this, I would say.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts in there where I felt like they were direct retreads of the original in a lot of ways, almost like fan service.
Yeah.
But then there's other ways where it just seemed to deviate just to be different. I don't think we're spoiling anything by saying the biggest change is that Ellie is the kid that dies. That's in the trailers and stuff. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think that's a really good change because Ellie can speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Gage couldn't. But
and ultimately you could just punt a toddler.
Sure.
And crisis averted.
Yeah.
But like a 9-year-old kid's got a little bit more facility about
True.
them.
You could probably punt a 9-year-old, but it would hurt.
Yeah. It wouldn't really work well for you. Yeah, I think that was an okay change. That's one of those things I was not really mad about. Also kind of, well, that'll get spoilers, so I won't talk about that now. There's some changes that they made with Gage's character that I think are cool too.
Yeah. That kid was less charismatic than Miko Hughes. Yeah.
He was still adorable.
Still super cute.
It reminded me of Mitch's kid.
He did. Yeah, he did. He looked like Mitch's kid. I thought he was super cute. I thought Ellie was a much better actress than Ellie in the original.
Well, I think that we can just say overall the family unit
as a whole
was all way better. Like within the first 5 minutes of the movie, I turned to you and I was like, well, the dad is at least a much better actor this time.
He's got way more personality, but he looks so much like that.
I know. He looks so much like him. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
But overall, the family is much more likable, which I think is in the movie's favor. That was really one of my biggest complaints about the original is, like, I just don't really give a fuck what's happening to these people.
Yeah, they sort of did a likability switch, though, with Judd. Whereas
I know.
You love Fred Gwynn, but you don't question the fact that, well, he's kind of responsible for all this. With this Judd, you get that he feels guilty, but you don't love him you don't connect to him quite as easily as Fred Gwynn. Not that John Lithgow's not easily connected to.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. Again, how do you mess that up?
I know, yeah. And they didn't have him say "Rod" once.
They didn't. That's a fine change for me.
No Rod.
Yeah, that's a fine change for me. I don't think when you do a remake, you need to pay service to the original.
Yeah.
But it needs to be, if you're going to not pay service to the original, you need to be way different. You need to be radically different.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie, it reminds us of the original when it's convenient.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, the way that they played Judd, I don't know, though. It's like he's such a beloved, like, super charismatic, ridiculous character.
Yeah.
That to try to remake that and retread that ground is pretty much a waste of time.
Yeah, so they had to do it different.
Yeah, because otherwise everybody would have been like, he wasn't near as good as Fred Gwynn. So.
Yeah, having him not even do a main accent was, I think, a refreshing change, but, like, then why even set it in Maine?
Yeah,
just to be part of the Stephen King universe, I guess, at that point.
Yeah. What do you think about the pacing of the movie?
I thought it was a little slow and a little... It seemed longer to me than the original, though it's shorter.
Yeah. I can agree with that in a lot of ways. Yeah. The pacing of the movie seemed a little... I don't know, I'll put it this way. Like, I never felt like the movie was really building to some, like, mega climax.
No, it didn't. It always felt, like, muted.
Yeah.
Not quite as... Because the original, of course, has those over-the-top moments. I think they probably didn't want to go over the top, but they went too far back.
Yeah.
They muted it too much.
Well, the thing about the pacing in this that I think didn't really work too well for me, too, is pretty much as soon as the movie starts, they start introducing the weird elements, where it's like we get the Zelda flashbacks, like, right away. We get the weird kids walking through the cemetery in their creepy masks, which I don't think are creepy.
I think that's beneficial to it because it establishes that the area is creepy.
Yeah.
Which helps because... They didn't do a lot of the things I said should have been done with the first one. They kept a lot of stuff in there that isn't directly connected with the Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
So by making it seem like, well, just the area itself is weird, helps to sort of explain why some of the other weird stuff not connected to the cemetery happens.
Right.
Though most of that stuff is cut or muted or... I mean, other than Pasco. Mm-hmm. It's mostly just about the cemetery and the burial ground, I would say.
Yeah.
Though the Zelda stuff's still there, and she still does seem to have flashbacks about it, it seems more like, I don't know, more like that's something in her head.
Yeah,
that keeps happening when she gets scared.
Yeah. What do you think about the visual effects and stuff?
Not as good as the original.
I know, right?
It's insane.
I know.
How Pascal didn't look better. Like, the original looked great. Not to say that it would be easy to improve on that, but 30 years later, Pascal should have looked at least as good.
Yeah.
Instead of... It looks really fake.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah. It was almost like they tried too hard to make it look brutal or something.
One of his eyes, the iris was red.
Yeah.
That's not petechial hemorrhaging. Like, the whites of your eye can become red.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But your iris doesn't become red. That was weird.
Medical inaccuracies.
Yeah. But, I mean, let's just get through the spoiler-free swing, because I think we've gotten
go a little
as
bit deeper
in deep as we want to. Would I recommend it? Don't go to the theaters to see it, I would say.
Yeah, you think
unless
this is
you're
a rental?
A Pet Sematary super fan who was so disappointed by the original, but only by tiny little mini mistakes.
And that is a very oddly specific
you have to
be
be a very specific person who's like, man, Pet Sematary would be the best movie ever if you just cut Missy Dandridge out.
Yeah, right.
And you show up to this and you're like, fuck yes.
Nailed it. Took out Missy, no problem.
Yeah.
You know what I really wish they would have done, though?
What's that?
Is because they did kind of modernize it and stuff and obviously set it in the current time.
Yeah, there's cell phones in there.
There was a SpongeBob cartoon, so
that's true.
It's modern era.
Right.
I think what would have been awesome is, like, if the family would have had like an Amazon Alexa, but instead of being called Alexa, it was called like the Amazon Missy. And they'd be like, Missy.
And it spoke with the main accent.
Yeah, exactly.
And every once in a while, just mention how its internal unit isn't working properly.
I think that definitely would have been a solid homage to the original, I think. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it is kind of a small demographic that I think that this movie will appeal to. I feel like if you are a diehard mega fan of the original, which, again, we're not really here on the show, but
so
there are people out there that just absolutely love it. And as we said on our episode, it's full of iconic stuff, but it's just not really that good of a movie.
It's just it's a middle-of-the-road sort of movie.
Yeah. I think that if you're a hardcore fan, there's probably a lot of stuff about this that you won't really like.
Yeah.
Because they change stuff kind of just to change it. Maybe if you've never seen the original before and you've never read the book, you might think it's okay.
Yeah, it might be an okay movie.
I was trying to watch it with the mindset of like...
I tried that too, and I just kept thinking like, it was so similar to the movie that it's hard to separate.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So,
like, I mentioned to like one of my students earlier, she's like a 12-year-old girl. I was like, after work we're going to go see that new Pet Sematary. She's like, new Pet Sematary? It's a remake?
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, I'm old.
Yeah.
For one.
Yeah.
But, then it kind of made me think, like, okay, there's a lot of people that haven't seen the original, so they're just watching this as its own movie. So I tried to look at it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think Hollywood's been just expecting that if something's been around for 30 years, they can remake it. And it doesn't matter if the old audience likes it. The new audience will go see it.
Yeah. There's new young people that are going to go buy tickets and stuff like that. So who cares?
You get movies like the Evil Dead remake, or the Halloween, most recent Halloween, I guess, continuation of 1 and 2. Like, you get those things and you think like, well, you don't have to be creatively bereft. Like, you can make this interesting. Right. So why didn't they?
Maybe they could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you said they had 30 years to practice and it was just a marginal improvement, I think that's a pretty accurate way of putting it. The improvements are indeed pretty marginal. I like the stuff with the cat better. We'll talk about that more in spoilers. I like the stuff with the cat better. The family is better. Yeah. But overall, it's not that much better of a movie, I'm not in love with the original. I'm not really in love with this one. The book, like I said before, I like the book pretty okay. Yeah. And this has a few more references to it. I think if you're a hardcore fan of the book, like that stuff with Ellie saying like the great and terrible, right? Like that's all over the book.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, and there's a few other things that are in the book that I noticed, but I don't know. If you're gonna give this thing a number score for the spoiler-free portion, where are you putting this thing? You rated the original.
I get 4.5 for the original. I'd say this is a 5.
Yeah.
Not much of an improvement.
Yeah. What did I rate the OG? 6?
6.
I kind of think I'm just going to put this at 6.
Yeah, okay.
Where it's just
sounds about right.
It's not less enjoyable than the original, but it's not really that much more enjoyable for me. Like, almost the fact that the original has so much, like, bad acting and cheesy stuff and raw and stuff, like, makes it more entertaining for me than this. Plus the fact that it's just 80s and it has the Ramones in it,
Yeah. At least you, like, if you watch the first one and you hate it, you really hate it. You watch this movie and you hate it, it's like, eh.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing to talk about hating it. It's just like, I don't like it.
Right. Yeah. So, that's it for the spoiler-free portion. Now, here beyond lies spoils. The barrier must not be broken.
No!
Into spoiler territory. All right, so let's get in and just spoil this thing up here, Steve. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, major changes. We've got Ellie coming back from the dead. And, in the original, whenever Gage comes back from the dead, it's kind of at the climax of the movie. It's all very sudden. All hell breaks loose.
Right.
In this movie, whenever Ellie comes back, we kind of have, like...
some time with her.
It's about 40 minutes left in the movie. And there's kind of, some time at home with Lewis.
Yeah, and he talks to her. We get to know what's going on a little bit more.
Yeah.
And this, I think, is good because it makes it obvious after a while that it's not Ellie.
Right, yeah.
And so, like, the things that come back from that burial ground, they're not the person or the animal they were when they went in. They're inhabited by something different.
Right, which is a big thing in the book.
Yeah, and the first one just sort of misses it because we don't get... because Gage can't talk.
Right.
So, like, this one, you get it more clearly. Like, oh, this is not Ellie.
Yeah, stuff comes back fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did too. And I like the way the girl playing Ellie portrayed being a dead person.
Yeah, just kind of monotone, sort of just like...
Kind of lifeless. Yeah.
Lifeless. Exactly.
Yeah.
Lifeless would be the way
Imagine that.
Yeah.
She played the corpse very lifeless. Excelsior.
Excelsior.
Yeah, I thought that overall she did a much better job. The Ellie in the original I thought was just very annoying.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she was quite as good an actress.
No.
As I don't know her name.
I
don't know anyone's name in this except for Amy Simmons and what's his name who played Judd? John Lithgow.
John Lithgow. Yeah. I like the way that they had Gage in this one kind of have the shining psychic abilities.
Yeah, he did. And
that was creepy.
They did do a sort of shining reference when he was saying Pascal. It was like red rum,
I guess so. I hadn't thought about that.
And he was wearing red pajamas when she picked him up.
That's pretty cool.
Sort of a shining reference. I like that.
I dig that. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way.
They also had an It reference when they were on the road. It was 20 miles to Dury.
Mm-hmm. Dirty man.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was an effective change. Just overall swapping the roles of the kids, I think actually was an improvement.
Yeah, it was.
On the original. It's easier for the dead kid to be creepier.
I think the Zelda story fits better in this than the original, because in the original it's just like it's a flashback and then she's seeing visions. But in this, I think every time we see Zelda, it's just her sort of flashing back in her head or having these fears manifest in her head.
Yeah, it's kind of PTSD-ish. And it also kind of explains why she's major league freaked out by death and wants to shield the children from the concepts of death and stuff like that.
I also like that they added the part about Zelda being in the walls.
Yeah.
Because she dies in a dumbwaiter incident in this. And the idea of her being in the walls and just the sound of her crawling around in the walls, that's real creepy.
I did too. You never knew where she was.
If you like Zelda from the original one, you're not going to dislike Zelda in this.
I agree. Yeah.
I think you would still think, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's real creepy.
They don't really show the mega creepy face.
No, that's right.
The white chick's face as much.
Well, that's because... that was played by a woman, so they didn't have to cake on a ton of makeup to make her look like a woman.
It seemed like the effects for her body, like her spine and stuff, they looked practical to me.
Yeah, they looked practical, and it did look like spinal meningitis a bit more, because she wasn't yellow.
Yeah, all jaundicey looking and stuff. I don't know about the whole idea of I'll put it this way. I like the idea that she accidentally killed Zelda. That makes it way more haunting.
Yeah, and that gives reason for her to still have guilt all these years later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know about the whole she fell into a dumbwaiter. It seems like Zelda was very bedridden and couldn't really move very much. So the idea of her walking to get her food.
Well, it sounded like she crawled over to the dumbwaiter.
Yeah.
But then how did she end up falling into it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the idea of finding your diseased sister's corpse fall down a dumbwaiter is very dark and very fucked up.
The image of it was creepy.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it could have been a little bit different death, but that wouldn't have gotten her in the walls, like you said, which to me is very effective.
It's a good addition.
They should have had something in there where Zelda was trying to surprise the family by dressing up as Santa Claus at Christmas and went down the chimney and got stuck.
And they could have had Phoebe Cates play the mom.
That definitely would have been better. Obviously, that would have been better.
The changes to Judd, I think, are interesting. His wife is still dead in this, though she's not dead in the book. Yeah,
I was like, damn it, they had 2 chances to get Norma,
I think I don't know that. I haven't read the book. But it did sort of pay off, because it turns out that Judd took her up to that burial ground and buried her, and then I guess had to kill her.
Yeah, which is pretty fucking dark.
Yeah, it's pretty damn
cool. Pretty damn cool. I like that. And I like, too, that towards the end there, we get little zombie Ellie transform into her.
Yeah, that was when it became very clear to me that this isn't Ellie at all. It might not even be the body of Ellie, because it starts to make more sense that this Wendigo has control over this area, because Judd talks about how the natives that lived there all moved, they said it was a bad area,
they pieced out.
Yeah. So it does seem more these bodies, they may just be manifestations of the Wendigo.
Right, yeah.
More than the actual resurrected corpses. But
and I like too that they played with Ellie having this knowledge of all kinds of stuff, having been to the afterlife.
Yeah, and
she's like Nora's in hell.
Well, that's the
pretty
thing
dark.
that I thought about was like, I was like, when I sort of realized this is the Wendigo, it's like, oh, it could be lying.
Right.
Like, it just likes to make people feel fear.
Yeah.
So the idea that there is nothing after this, and that, like, for people that believe that there's something after this, being confronted with their dead child saying the only thing after this is hell.
Right.
That's, obviously going to cause them to be a little bit afraid.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely so. Yeah, the way that the ghosts, if you want to call them that, the ghosts of Pascal, the ghosts of Zelda, and the ghosts of, again, damn it, Norma.
Yeah.
I'm fucking it up.
Judd's
wife.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I do like how they played in this movie. We mentioned on our original Pet Sematary episode that there's a lot of stuff about secrets and the secrets that people keep and the guilt that people keep.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
It's less about that in this one.
Yeah.
But guilt
is definitely
to be a big thing.
Yeah. And it kind of honestly reminded me a lot of like The Haunting of Hill House, where all these people that had something terrible happen when they were a kid, as an adult, the ghost that haunts them is kind of like an echo of some shit that happened to them when they were a kid. I kind of like the idea that, the mom is haunted by this ghost of Zelda specifically, and the dad is haunted by ghost of Pascal, this guy he couldn't save and stuff. But it's cool how none of them really mentions it to each other. Like every time the mom has like a flash about Zelda, she's like, nothing was going on.
Yeah,
and
he knows about it, but he doesn't know what's going on with her each time.
Yeah, and even when like the Lewis is trying to tell his wife about, this Pascal guy died and he knew my name, he just kind of mentions it and she's like, what? And he's like, oh, it's nothing. It's like these people are keeping their guilt or whatever, their ghost, so to speak, as a secret. Yeah. Which I think is pretty cool. I like the way they do that.
Yeah.
One thing I like that they had in here too is, I like that they had it, but then I hate that they didn't develop it more. There seemed to be kind of a little bit of a science versus religion thing going on.
Yes, that was definitely going on, and those are the character arcs of Rachel and Lewis.
Yeah.
Lewis goes from someone who has like no belief in any sort of afterlife,
man of science,
right, and he slowly buys into this supernatural stuff.
Yeah,
and then she is afraid to confront death, and then about halfway through, he becomes the one who needs to confront what's happening. She slowly gets him to confront what's happening, though the consequences of his actions still play out.
Yeah.
They die.
It is kind of interesting that you have that kind of like character reversal that goes on in there, where it's like you have the man of science who's the guy that's like, oh no, the afterlife is fine and real and our daughter is back. And then you have the mom who seems to be a lot more religious. Yeah. And she just can't deal with the fact that, her kid has come back from the dead.
Right. So she at the beginning couldn't confront death, and now can't confront her daughter being back alive.
Right. Yeah. But I wish they would have kind of played with that a bit more. Like if there would have been some more skepticism from Lewis being a doctor and being like, this is impossible,
I would say this movie needed a bit more is the exact way to put it. Like they should have gone around on those knobs and just turned them all up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Just goose them up a little bit more. You ain't gonna break nothing. You don't got to just roll them all over to 11.
A little bit more into the characters, because I wanted to know about the characters, but the movie didn't give me enough, I didn't feel like.
Yeah.
And then a little bit more about the area and the Wendigo and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, also maybe, just maybe, get rid of Pascal completely.
I mean, maybe just get rid of
just
that.
Just nuke it. There's no reason for it. It just didn't pay off in this one any more than it paid off in the first one.
I mean, honestly, it probably would have been a better thing if Lewis, the whole reason he became a doctor, the whole reason he wanted to start saving people's lives is because there was a playground accident with his best friend as a child, and he wasn't able to save him. Yeah. And that's the character that haunts him his whole life.
For a character who is a doctor in both the original movie and in this one, Lewis doesn't do much doctoring.
Not a lot of doctrine in this.
No.
He tries a little harder to save Pascal.
He does, but also, and that scene makes more sense.
Yeah.
By the way, like, it all made a whole lot more sense, but when his daughter gets hit by a truck, I recognize that he doesn't immediately run over and start performing CPR or anything. He immediately is like, what? But then he runs over and doesn't start performing CPR, just lifts her up. Now, anybody knows that somebody's been hit, there might be a neck injury. Yeah. Don't just lift them up.
No.
Like, but he's a doctor and he just lifts her up. Like, they could have just put a little more thought into it and been like, well, he's a doctor. He would immediately run over and try to revive her instead of forgetting 7 years of medical training.
You know, one thing I will say that I did really love about the movie is Church.
Yeah, it looks so much better, and there was more character to the cat.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, really, really. Like, in this one, the cat, I'm not going to say it's anywhere remotely to this level, but I would say the closest analog I could say would be like Black Phillip from The Witch.
Sure, yeah.
Where it's like, when you watch it back, you're like, this cat seems to know what's going on and seems to be like guiding these events. Like, it guided Ellie out into the road. That's an awesome touch.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome touch to do that. And even like whenever the cat's like in Gage's crib and stuff like that.
It's like creepy.
Yeah,
because it's like, what the fuck? And Gage is crying. Like, what was the cat doing before?
Yeah, well, it reminded me of those things where they say that like cats will like sit on an infant's chest and like get in sync with their breathing, and like take their breath from and stuff like that. And sometimes like kids have died doing that and stuff. Kind of reminded me of that. And it looked like they greased him up with a little pomade. He had a stylish hairdo.
He did, and he also looked a little like Ron Perlman. He looked a little. He had really a Ron Perlman mouth and chin area.
Cat based on Ron Perlman.
That's always anything looking like Ron Perlman's got to be awesome. Like,
yeah, no doubt. That's pretty funny.
I did like that they threw in a meta joke about Church's name when Ellie told John Lithgow that his name was Church after Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
And then John Lithgow said, I know a thing or two about Winston Churchill. Because he played Winston Churchill.
Oh, no shit.
In The Crown. Yeah.
Well, goddamn.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking clever.
Yeah, it is.
There were also a few other things about this that were, I guess you would say, somewhat meta that I think played upon the fact that the audience has seen the original.
Yeah, like when I hated one of them.
He's standing by the bed.
I hated that.
Okay, so that didn't work for you.
I hate it. You know why I hate it? Because the movie should not be reminding you that you've seen other movies and that it is a movie. And that you can think about everything else that's not the movie. It should be drawing you in instead of dragging you out to show you everything else. Because it shows you the shot from under the bed, and then he, like, oh, I saw the first movie, kicks the bed. And she's not there. But then she does still cut his Achilles tendon, and it's like, come on, just give us the bed thing. The bed thing's scary.
It's fine, yeah. What if when he looked down at the bed and you saw like his bare ankles exposed? What if he would have been like, I'm not gonna go down that road and kick the bed?
Yeah. That would have, okay.
Oh wait, what if he would have been like, it's a trap, and kicked it? Jesus. Would that have been better?
Yes. Okay.
Well, the thing about that is too, though, is like, you know, again, this is one of those deals where trailers are just showing us way too much shit these days.
They really are.
Where whenever he's up there in his house and he's looking for little zombie Ellie, and it shows that shot from under the bed and it's showing us his ankles, I'm like, well, I know he's not fixing to get his ankle cut because in the fucking trailer they show he gets his ankle cut on stairs.
Oh, really? I didn't see that one.
Yeah,
okay, glad I didn't watch it.
They show in the trailer where he's on the steps and you see the little scalpel come up. It's like, it's just right fucking there.
Hollywood needs to fire these advertising companies. Like, they really need to just be like, look, you're advertising the movie, but you're telling the fucking story of the goddamn movie. Nobody's going to come see it.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's kind of the thing, though. We were talking about it on the original Pet Sematary episode the other day, but I was like, man, there's got to be more to this movie than they're showing us. Because in the movie, or in the trailer, it's like they show us Ellie's the one that gets killed. They show us like how Judd gets his ankle cut. Like, they're showing us so much. There's got to be something else to it. Not really.
There's not, and that is
really.
Very disappointing. That was it. Like, this movie, maybe if the original never existed, maybe I would be like, oh, this is a good movie.
Yeah.
But, and that's the thing is, like, I don't like the original, and I bet the people that do like the original won't like this either. So it's like, if you're gonna make a remake, you can't win over the people who love the original.
Right.
You need to worry about making a good movie.
This seemed to kind of like try to get a foot in both, didn't it?
And I think that's why they hired the directors they hired.
Who are the directors?
Dennis Widmeyer and... Anyway, the directors of Starry Eyes and the Valentine's Day
of
section of Holidays.
Yeah.
I think they picked them because they have no power in Hollywood. I think the studio wanted to make a particular movie.
Yeah.
So they got 2 directors who have made a name for themselves as horror directors, but wouldn't be able to, say, artistic interpretation or creative license.
Right.
The studio would just be like, no, you're going to do it exactly like this.
This is how it's going to be. Or you'll never work in Hollywood again.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you haven't made anything that makes your opinions totally valid yet. So.
Exactly. So
that makes sense when you put it that
I
way.
expected it to be good because of them. I think it's bad because they didn't want to have directors with a vision. They wanted to have directors who will just do what they say.
This kind of continues Stephen King's streak of like having weird ideas of what makes a good movie version of his books.
I don't know if he had much to do with it. I wonder if he did. I'd like to know.
I just saw where he praised the shit out of it.
Yeah,
and said it
he
was
did.
amazing.
I did see that. He didn't praise it?
Did you not see what he put up today?
No, tell us.
I'll read it to you.
This is Kate, by the way.
Hi.
Overseeing the podcast here, sitting in the room.
Glad she's here to tell us that we wrong.
She is my wife. Your
He
wife.
left it vague, as if he had gotten a lot of money, maybe.
Well, I'm sure
No
he did.
kidding. No kidding.
Here's what he said this morning. Pet Sematary opens tonight. They don't come back the same.
That's not really very telling.
That's not.
That doesn't really give you a whole lot of
Yeah, it's
downtime.
not really like, that's not a ringing endorsement anymore than...
That's just kind of like saying it has the color blue in it.
It is a movie.
Yeah,
It's a motion picture.
is a motion
Yeah.
picture.
I've read enough of his columns that I took it to be like...
Yeah, well, no, he chooses his words carefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely very carefully. I hate that he wasn't in this movie being a bad actor and looking weird.
I'm glad that he wasn't.
When it got to that funeral scene, I was like,
Tarantino would stop putting himself in his movies. M. Night as well.
maybe just people shouldn't put themselves in the movies.
Yeah,
Stan
really
Lee, you can do it. You
sure,
did it.
because he was charming and good on screen.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith?
Oh,
Kevin
yes,
Smith, sure,
he
yeah,
can do it.
he can do it.
He can do it.
But, you know, whatever. I don't know. It's at the end of the day, I think this is just not a movie that I would recommend people go see in the theater.
Yeah, you know,
I would say wait till it's on on a streaming service. I was going to say wait till it's on DVD or Blu-ray, and I was like, no, not even then.
Not even then.
Don't buy it.
Yeah, I think this might be a wait till stream.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those where I don't think it's one of those where it's like, you should see it now before it gets spoiled.
Right.
The trailer already fucking did it.
There's nothing to spoil. If you've seen the first one, I mean, the ending's a little different.
Yeah, let's talk about that ending a little bit.
I liked it, but that's because I just hated the original ending, and I think that it's a little bit better, but not great.
So you like it better that Zombie Ellie basically wins.
Yeah, and she
drags her mom up there. How the fuck did she drag her up all that big pile of sticks and brambles?
First off, she's an incarnation of the Wendigo. I mean, we saw her exhibiting strength. She sort of burst through that door. And
strength beyond strength, Pantera style.
Yeah. But it happened, we don't know how quick it happened, but it happened within less than 8 hours.
Yeah.
Because it was dark when that started and dark whenever they then kill Lewis.
Right.
And then... I guess there is some, like, I found some humor in the fact that Gage is the last one alive.
Yeah, I know. He's the first one to die.
In the original.
That's true. That is
I found some
complete
humor
reversal.
in that. And also, I don't know, the look on his face was kind of funny.
Like,
classically,
shit.
Just like, what the fuck? But he's a little
toddler
baby.
is pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I don't really know that the ending is better. Like, I like the idea that in the original ending where you have Lewis, who has fucked everything up and has gotten his wife killed, but he still just keeps fucking it up. It's like he has to try to fight so hard against death and finality that even though he knows it's not going to work, he still tries to bring you back. Like, I like that.
I like that, but as I said in the full podcast on that, what I think would have been better was him walking down the trail then go to the montage bit and then fade to black. Like,
yeah,
we get he's not learned his lesson,
right?
But you're right. That is a better ending. It is a better ending to have that where he just hasn't learned his lesson. But in this one, I think it's good that he learns his lesson, but doesn't get to ignore the consequences.
Well, what I don't understand though is, okay, in the OG and in the book and stuff like that, Gage comes back. Gage is like a demon, wants to kill everybody. But it seems like in this, it's like Ellie comes back. Ellie wants to create a legion of zombies.
Well, she wants to not be alone, I think, in hell.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think.
I just don't really feel it.
Don't either.
You know?
I didn't feel much at all for it.
Just in general?
Yeah, it really was. And like, I'm a dude who's a real easy crier.
Right, yeah.
Not even close in this movie. There was no point where I was like even emotionally affected.
Didn't even think the room had got dusty at some point.
No.
Not even once.
Nobody was slicing onions anywhere near me.
No allergens?
No, nope. No, I just wasn't affected by it.
Nary a thing.
Yeah.
I'll say other things that didn't do as well as the original. The burial ground didn't look near as sick as the OG.
No.
And and the walk to the cemetery didn't look anywhere as
because
good.
the original was actually shot in Maine.
Yeah.
And everything was shot outside in actual spaces.
You could smell the lobster.
Yeah, you could feel that it felt natural. In this, it's obvious it's on a soundstage.
Yeah, it definitely felt that way.
And there's computer manipulation of the lighting and stuff that just doesn't look good.
No.
Like, surprisingly, I wonder how much they spent on this.
Yeah, I wonder.
That they couldn't have just, I don't know. They also kept using smoke effects to cover that it was a soundstage.
Dude, there's just smoke fucking everywhere. Yeah. Absolutely everywhere.
It just makes it look so much more fake.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? What swamp have you been to where it's smoky everywhere?
The old smoke swamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't look near as good as that. I wasn't really nuts about how all of that stuff looked. Yeah. I don't really get into the kids wearing spooky masks. That's not creepy to me. Also, that happened way too early in the movie.
It didn't mean anything.
No.
It's just like the creepy masks were supposed to be creepy in and of themselves.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you're a 14-year-old and you've never seen any scary movies or anything, maybe you think that's spooky. But
I would have liked that they subverted it a bit. If the kids had been that way, and then on the way back, they're just acting like kids with the masks off, and we see like, oh, there's nothing to fear about that. Like, that would have been more to the message.
Yeah.
Of there's nothing to fear about death.
Right.
And that this is a celebration of the life and the remembering this pet or whatever.
Yeah.
They could have done that, and it would have made it way better. Like, not made the movie way better, just the inclusion of the kids in the mask.
Right. I think a lot of people watching this will just without a doubt say that Ellie had derp face after she came back.
She did, and it looked bad. The makeup looked bad. Like, you could see the edges around her nose of the makeup, and it was like,
she kind of had this mush down eye.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, in the 1989 version, the effects looked better.
Yeah.
Like, how could you screw up the effects at this point?
I mean, one thing that they did okay is, you know, in the original, when you've got a toddler that gets hit by a semi-truck, he's going to look like strawberry jelly all over that road.
Yep.
He's just going to be vaporized.
Right.
And in this, they just kind of had the tanker of the truck.
Yeah, he gets like, the truck jackknifes and the tanker slides off and slides into her, which, that would probably kill her, but not pulverize her.
And also do stuff like disfigure her skull and stuff like that, which is why her eye looks fucked up, which I understood. But I think a lot of people would be like, "Oh, she has derp face." Like, I see memes coming.
Oh, sure.
I see memes coming with that one right there. You know.
Yeah.
There are some things that I liked. Okay, like I like that part where after Ellie comes back and Lewis is like talking to her as he's like tucking her into bed, and she's like, "Am I dead?" And he's like, "No, you're okay. You're fine."
Yeah.
And there had been this theme, you know, about like kind of lying to the kids to keep them safe from the truths of life and death and all this kind of stuff. And that particular conversation I thought was really well done, because I was like, is he lying to her or lying to himself?
Yeah, it seemed like he was lying to himself. For
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Like she knew and he was trying to deny it.
Yeah.
He didn't want it to be true.
I thought that was well played.
Right.
I thought. Soundtrack, completely forgettable to me. It was fine. It never felt very intrusive.
The Ramones cover at the end actually has the same energy as the movie. Just sort of a lazy attempt at a punk.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
that's pretty much how I would sum it up.
Yeah. You took out the fun of it.
Yeah. You took out the Ramones.
Yeah, the Ramones.
Oh, the Ramones.
I don't want to be buried.
That's not punk rock. It's more slick and well produced, but that ain't no punk rock and roll.
No, I couldn't deal with it. I didn't like the movie.
Yeah,
like there are a few small things that I wrote down that are maybe worth talking about in a longer episode, but yeah,
we've
I
done
just don't think there's much to say. Yeah, it's just,
Yeah, I actually, I don't know. I might even like the original more than this one, just because it's cornier.
I can at least it's a little bit better done movie, but it's not as enjoyable to watch.
Right?
Yeah. For a movie that, like, Pet Sematary, I watched a million times because I edited it and took tons of shit out. Like, I watched it a million times, and now, like, just thinking about it, it's like, yeah, I'd rather watch that.
Yeah.
I'd definitely rather watch that again.
I mean, at least you can watch it and be like, oh, he's at Raw again.
Raw.
Yeah, he's Raw. God. This is kind of joyless.
It's joyless,
in a lot of ways.
Joyless.
That's kind of how I would kind of sum it up. It's pretty joyless.
Yeah, I think they wanted to go darker, and they were like, well, joyless, right?
Right.
No,
that's the way to do it.
That's not how you do it.
Yeah.
Actually, to go darker, you need the joy so you can hit the dark.
Right, yeah.
And this gets none of that.
Yeah. Well, you got any other further thoughts about this, Steve? Yeah, I think I've pretty much laid down what I want to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think wait for rental is probably a pretty safe bet with this one. You guys be sure to let us know what you think. If you're watching this on the YouTube, let us know in the comment section below. Or if you're listening to the podcast, be sure to let us know on the Facebook group.
Yeah, or anywhere. Instagram, Twitter, etc.
We everywhere.
We got at Dead Lovely Pod on the Instagroodles, on the Twiddles.
Yeah.
We got that Dead and Lovely Horror Movie Podcast group.
We do.
And we got the email. deadandlovelypod@gmail.com.
Man, I can't wait until somebody finally ponies up and hires like a skywriter to ride above my house.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay, 6 out of 10.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I'll see it in the sky and be like, I know what they meant. Hey, listen to the Pet Sematary episode. I'm still waiting, you guys.
Somebody who lives 2 doors down is like, I knew it. And then he goes into his bunker and never comes out. He's like, that's the sign.
Yeah.
God said he would give me a sign. That's it.
Well, thank you guys, as always, for listening. Be sure to rate and review on the iTunes. Takes us a long time to make you a show. It just takes you a second to write us all a review on iTunes. We sure would appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Helps us show up on all them lists and search engines and so on.
For real.
So forth.
Etc.
Yep. So thank you guys for listening. We will catch up with you guys next week with our Jacob's Ladder episode. Jacob's Ladder. So you guys be sure to tune in for that. You guys have been just absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much for listening. We've been Uncle Ben.
And Hollywood Steve.
Bye-bye.
Bye.